Hey everybody, welcome back to another PMP's Den of Antiquities episode. And today I'm happy to announce that we're doing another chapter in the Star Wars Perspective podcast. And just a little information if you're new here. Basically what I do is I find people who like Star Wars and I get their story on it and just have them tell their perspective on why they fell in love with the franchise. And today I'm joined by Brendan from the Cloud City Conversation podcast. How you doing, man?
Doing good. How are you? I'm
I'm
here
doing
with
great.
my boy Mando to start this podcast.
Yeah, what a cutie. What a cutie.
So I let him down soon because he's not happy.
He's like, stop holding me. That's how my German Shepherd is too. When I hold her for too long, she's just like, all right, dude, it's time to be set down.
He's not used to being held like this, so he's like, what is happening?
He's got really cute eyes. He got like those baby blue eyes, man.
Oh yeah, maybe if I can move him, you guys can see him. He's not very happy. I'll set him down now.
What a cutie.
All right, man.
All right, well, the first question I got for you is really like, what got you into Star Wars?
Star Wars. Okay, so my first experience with Star Wars was when I was 4. I'm currently 20, so this is about 16 years ago. I have this really vivid memory of myself just walking to a living room and seeing Attack of the Clones on the TV. My dad and my uncle were just watching it, and it was the scene of it was the Geonosis part. So like the arena and then the big battle of the Clone War.
The best part.
So 4-year-old me was just, bless you, doggy. But 4-year-old me was just blown away by that entire scene, and I wanted to know more. It took me a couple years because I was so young to grasp some of the details of Star Wars. Like I remember having an argument with my dad that Luke and Anakin were the same person when I was that age. And he's like, no, that's different people. I'm like, no, I'm sure they both have blue lightsabers and they have long hair. They're the same person. But yeah, it was that scene that really kicked off my love of Star Wars.
Oh yeah, I remember. I think, man, I want to say I was like in 3rd or 4th grade when Episode 2 came out, and I remember having pretty much the exact same reaction to you once I saw the Geonosis and then Yoda hopping around and fighting Count Dooku. I mean, that as like you're I don't know, I was like 7 or 8. That like blows your mind, back in the days. Like I'd never seen anything like that, so that's awesome. But what would you say if you had to pick one thing? It can be anything. What is your favorite part about Star Wars?
My favorite part about Star Wars, that's a really hard one.
Yeah, I know. See, I'll go first to maybe spark the ball rolling. I say the Force. I think for me, the Force is something that's just like you don't really see it in a whole bunch of other things, and I think you can also like equate it to like real life. There's a lot of like Buddhist and like Christianity like values in that the Force that I think you can apply to like real life, and it's just something that like moves me like to my core essentially. So like that's what I pick.
I would have 2, but I'm gonna do the less controversial one. I love the animated shows.
Nice. Okay.
So I was way too young to ever see the prequels in theater. And I was Clone Wars was kind of my Star Wars. And so I watched them every Friday. And then Rebels came out, loved Rebels. And those are just like, I think the shows are better than any of the movies for me.
Really? Honestly. That's interesting. Yeah, that's cool.
Like that's really interesting. I saw the Clone Wars movie like in theater back in the day. So that was my first Star Wars movie in theaters.
Oh, that's sweet. Nice. All right, so let's what did your I want to know the controversial one. What's your controversial?
Oh man. I love how George Lucas used the original 6 as a critique on American politics. I've always found it so interesting. The original trilogy was a critique on Reagan and Nixon's administrations and their imperialist natures, and then the prequel trilogies were a big critique on the now ended war in Afghanistan.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. Yeah. I haven't dived I've heard like briefly him talking about that and like how it like tied into like the Vietnam War and stuff like that. And I always found that interesting, but I never really deep dived into that. But that's cool that that's what you kind of connect to. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it kind of I be in my own personal life, I'm very big into politics. I try to keep that away from my Star Wars stuff because I'm
Right.
like, I don't want people to not like me for other reasons. Like we're here to talk about Star Wars, you know. That's how
For
I
sure.
normally am when it comes to that kind of stuff. But
No,
yeah,
I'm 100% with you on that. But moving on, what is your so we're gonna do what is your movie rankings? And you can go from worst to best or best to worst, and then tell me like a little like with each movie, tell me like a reason maybe why you like it or why it didn't hit home for you as well.
I want to make a disclaimer. I love every single Star Wars movie. There's not a single one that I don't love, and so it's like ranking your favorite children.
Yeah, I feel you.
So
I feel you.
like even like the one I'm gonna put at the bottom, I can sit down and have a lot of fun watching it. But I'm gonna start from the top. And
Okay.
number one,
So your
Revenge
favorite
of the
to
Sith.
least?
Revenge of the Sith.
Oh,
Revenge of the
nice.
Sith is it's made ever so sweeter with the Clone Wars. Like I mentioned earlier, how the Clone Wars was my Star Wars and whatnot, and it's just Anakin's Obi-Wan story, and that is just chef hands. You know, I use chef hands a lot on my podcast, so I'll be bringing it over here.
Heck
Um,
yeah, man.
but it's just I would say it's the perfect Star Wars movie. I'm a big fan of how a lot of the Star Wars are tragedies. Like you could argue that the first 6 movies are the rise, fall, and redemption of Anakin Skywalker. And so this is arguably the most crucial part of Anakin's arc is it's the fall. And I know a lot of people like maybe like older generations aren't a big fan of Anakin. I know this younger generation loves Anakin, loves the prequels, but
Oh, he's odd. He's
it's
amazing.
it's the best Star Wars movie, and I think it's very hard to compare it to any of the other ones. Well, maybe not, but number 2 is going to be a controversial pick. I love The Last Jedi. I
Okay,
love
okay.
the change of feel. I know it has its flaws, but there's just some scenes that are just so amazing. I'm a big fan of Ben Solo's character. Um, and
Yeah, he's my
Adam
favorite from the sequel.
Adam Driver is one of the best actors they've ever casted in Star Wars. Um,
Yeah, he
and then
killed
you've
it.
got
This Kylo.
yeah, you've got scenes like I know you can pick apart the throne room scene but in the theaters for the
It's
first time
still so
watching it,
cool though, man. It's
my
still
jaw
really
was
cool.
dropping. Like
Yeah.
Snoke's death, Rey and Ben fighting together for the first time. I mean, it all blew me away in the theaters. And sometimes I like to just look back to how I look at or reacted in the theaters on how I like something, you know. I don't
Mhm.
like to pick stuff apart like that because I'm like, then I'm not having fun, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Well,
then,
if you don't pick that scene apart, it's amazing. Like
yeah,
you don't like because I didn't catch any of those like little bloopers that happen in that scene. I was just so amazed by like the set and like also too the fact that they're a dyad. Obviously, you don't know that,
yeah,
in that movie. But going back and
oh
looking at
yeah,
that, I think the fact that they're a dyad makes things so much cooler. Like makes that scene like really awesome, you
I
know?
100% agree with that. That's one of my favorite aspects of the sequels is the introduction of a dyad. I know, uh, I know nothing about the Old Republic. Well, I know a little bit, but I know uh, Revan and Bastille. Still,
Yeah, I think it's Bastille or Bastila. I always
Bastila.
forget too.
I think it's Bastila. I think they have something similar to that. I don't think it's called the same thing. But I'm really impressed with that part of the sequels. And then number 3, go Return of the Jedi.
Ooh,
Return
yeah,
of the
that's a good one.
Jedi is so much fun. Um, Obviously, it's the conclusion of the original trilogy. A lot of people have Empire Strikes Back up pretty high, but not me. I don't jump on that bandwagon, and it used to be up that high, but my girlfriend recently pointed out to me how much of a douchebag Han Solo is, and how
Oh
much
yeah,
of an 80s romance Leia and Han is, and how
yeah.
inappropriate is now.
It's
But
definitely dated for sure.
yeah, and so I'm like, I used to love Han. I have cat hair all on my face now from that. Thank you, Clementine. So that's fun. Um, oh gosh, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's all over my face. We'll keep going though. But yeah, Return of the Jedi. Again, going back to my point about the rise, fall, and redemption of Vader, it concludes Vader's arc, and
Oh yeah.
Vader has the best arc within the entire series. And seeing that scene is just amazing. The
Oh yeah, dude.
revelation
I
that
get.
Luke and Leia are siblings is, it was really funny. 'Cause my girlfriend had never seen the Star Wars movies when we were watching them for the first time. And we watched Return of the Jedi for the first time. She walked out of the room when she found out Luke and Leia were siblings. Walked out. She was so angry. Like, really? They just kissed like an hour ago. What is happening? It was I still can just laugh at her for it.
It's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
But yeah. So that's 3/4. Gonna throw Rogue One in 4th.
Ooh, Rogue
Rogue
One. Another
One
great one.
is so well filmed. The cinematography of Rogue One is phenomenal. The characters are all fun. I'm really excited to see Cassian back soon. K2SO is top 5 droids of all time. Sad that he died, but and like it doesn't even bother me the fact that all the characters die at the end. Again, and then Chirrut, amazing character.
Oh yeah, he's great. Great.
They sprinkle in just enough of the old characters so they don't overwhelm the movie, but they're there, and your jaw drops when you see them. When you see Tarkin, when you see Leia, when you see Vader, jaws just drop. And I think it's a very strong movie within the saga. And then 5th,
Real quick, hold on before we move on to 5th. What did you think about the CGI? And because Leia and Tarkin were both CGI.
it didn't bother me.
Didn't bother
I could
you?
see some of the arguments of saying it was I didn't think it looked bad. It didn't take me out of the movie. The only
Right.
argument I could see that is valid for not doing it is it's kind of wrong to do that. Is it it's the moral argument? Is it right to take this dead person and then portray them again, use their face again?
Right.
That's the only argument I could see against it. Other than that, I think it's not too bad.
Yeah, because I personally thought they killed it with at least Tarkin. I think Leia's close, but her eyes aren't the same. Like that's what throws it off for me. Like her eyes are not like if you look at Carrie Fisher's eyes
Yeah.
and then you look at the eyes on the Leia that was there. But no, that's an interesting point that you brought up and something that I hadn't really thought of. Like, is it okay to use people who have like passed on in the film? I'm trying to think back. Had Carrie passed?
Yes.
Before
Fairly
Rogue
recently.
One? Yeah. I knew it was around that time. I just didn't know
was-
if she passed before the movie or not.
Oh boy, Rogue One came out in 2016. I think Carrie died in 2016 as well.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so that was
Last
fresh.
Jedi came out. I think she had died around the time, maybe weeks before Rogue One came out, actually. So Rogue One was finished, I think, by the time.
Okay.
She died. Yeah, I think she died fairly recently before the movie came out. But yeah. You want to move on to number 5?
Yeah, for sure.
Number 5, I think I'm gonna go with A New Hope. New Hope's
Classic.
the start of it all.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with A New Hope. One of my favorite scenes in all of Star Wars is the binary sunset. I even have it hanging up in my living room as a tapestry. It's my favorite of the Star Wars music. I don't think you can go wrong with A New Hope. Although, if they were to, have you ever seen the Vader versus Obi-Wan rematch, like remake?
On, the one on YouTube? Yeah.
If they were to add that into it, I think it would be Return of the Jedi.
Oh, for sure.
I think the lightsaber fights in that are the weakest part of the movie, but I understand George's. Well, obviously it's the first movie.
It's also like they were limited by technology.
Still developing the world. George just passed it off as like, oh, Jedi aren't in their prime anymore. But I don't know.
So I wanted to float this question to you since you brought up that. Would you be mad because there was like, I don't know, it was maybe like a year or two ago, there was rumors that they like might go back and remaster those scenes and add something similar to like not change the scenes, but like basically add something like the YouTube channel did. Would you be mad as a Star Wars fan if they went back and kind of re-edited those fight scenes?
know if they did it a certain way. I think to please both fans, I think you need to make the different versions of A New Hope and all those movies available. So we can go if we don't want to watch the reimagined versions or the updated versions. I think we should still be able to go back and see the old ones. But if they were to do that and publish it as a separate thing, I'm all for that.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. It's like, you get to pick and choose what you believe is, canon. It's your Star Wars experience. So I think, yeah, I agree. If they kept both, I think that would probably be the best.
And it's not the first time we've had multiple different things that are canon at the same time. I mean, the Kanan comics and then Bad Batch. Although I love the theory that the comics are Kanan's recollection. It's his memory of it after years of binge drinking. So
yeah, I remember when I was doing your podcast when you told me that, I was like, ooh, like my mind was like blown. I was like, whoa, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's my head canon at least. And I mean, even the reimagined Vader fight might be my head canon, but I still would like the original version to be viewable.
Well, who knows? We might get that in the Obi-Wan series, because they said they were going to duel again, whether it be in a vision or if they actually meet. So we might actually get that.
I'm excited for Kenobi. It's gonna be so good.
Yeah, I think that's my top pick right now for the upcoming stuff, for sure. But we'll get to that a little later.
Number 6. What have I ranked? I'm gonna put Force Awakens.
Oh, okay.
Force Awakens was my first live action Star Wars movie in theaters. I remember seeing the trailer for the first time and not even thinking it was real. Because I see this, they kind of just show shots of Finn and Rey and then BB-8 rolling and then the Falcon. I'm like, this is fan made. I've never seen these people in my life. And then what is this? A beach ball
rolling around?
Yeah, I was like, this is fake. But then realizing it was real, and then later seeing it in theaters as the first authentic Star Wars experience in theaters blew me away. Obviously, Han's death is tragic. I was brought to tears, and I've been brought to tears in so many Star Wars movies.
Oh yeah, it happens, man. They get you.
Yeah, but yeah, that's solid. And then 7, let's put Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back, it's a classic. It's great. Maybe a little too cliche. There's a lot of great parts of Empire Strikes Back. I still love it, even with its flaws. And I'm gonna get so much shit for saying Empire Strikes Back has flaws.
No, it's a positive community here, man.
Yeah.
We're all everybody has different opinions.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like I said earlier, I do love every single one of these movies. There are moments of Empire Strikes Back that still give me chills. Like the Vader Luke fight still is amazing.
Great.
It's still one of the best duels in the entire saga. The Hoth sequence is one of my favorite sequences of Star Wars as well. What was that? My 7th or?
That was your 7th, yeah.
Okay. So 8, we have 11 movies. Okay, 8th. Let's go with The Rise of Skywalker. Rise of Skywalker, I think, had some good premises, even though I would not have brought Palpatine back personally. I don't hate it, don't love it. Kind of middle ground there.
I think they were trying to appease Legends fans, because that's what happens in Legends is he comes back. So
yeah. My only critique of The Rise of Skywalker was it felt really fast paced, and that was something I even initially noticed in the first viewing, was how fast paced it was.
That's JJ for you.
Oh yeah, but at the same time, that was kind of fun. Rey's sequence where she talks to all the Jedi. Oh my god. I remember flipping out in the theaters when I first saw that, and hearing Kanan, hearing Ahsoka. Those are my favorite 2 Star Wars characters. And so hearing them was stellar until I realized Ahsoka might be dead. And then I was crushed for like an hour. And then Dave, like an hour after I saw the movie, tweeted the Ahsoka and Gandalf picture. Some people thought I was dead. I'm like, okay, no, Dave. Okay, I trust you, Dave. She's fine. She's going to be somewhere weird that explains it all.
Playing with my emotions.
Man, Dave plays with my emotions too much. Dave,
He
you
does
playing too
indeed.
much.
He
But
does indeed.
yeah, Rise of Skywalker is still a solid film.
Oh, dude, when he meets when Ben like turns into Ben and he sees and why am I blanking so hard? He sees
Han.
Han Solo. Um, not a super sob story, but like my dad had passed like recently after I had like seen that, or he passed before I saw the movie. And then
Sorry,
dude,
yeah.
I was bawling like a freaking baby because I
Oh,
was like, man, I can't even imagine. Like, obviously, like I didn't kill my dad, but like, I can like imagine like what it would be like your parent being gone, you having to live with that like emotion, and then like seeing them like I really felt that scene. Like I was a little confused at first because it doesn't explain it very well, but like
yeah.
man, I was bawling like a freaking baby when
I
that scene
know.
happened.
I know. My initial feeling after that scene was like, I kind of wish it was Anakin.
Honestly, I think it would have hit hard either way. I think it would
Yeah,
have made more sense to be Anakin personally,
yeah,
but I felt like it still hit home being, Han Solo.
yeah. One of my
But
favorite
I
memes.
agree with you.
Go ahead. Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry. One of my favorite memes I've ever seen of that scene was someone put General Grievous jumping off the like the cliff kind of thingy there,
Yeah,
chasing
yeah, I've
Ben's
still seen
lightsaber
that
after he
one.
thrown that. It's
Dude, it's great.
it's so great. People
It's
are
like
so
another
talented
fine
in this movie.
edition. Just like he's like running, like
I think
hopping
I've
off.
seen one with him chasing after Rey's buried lightsabers
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
yeah. I know which ones you're talking about. Yeah,
Oh
it's
god,
funny.
they're so funny. Uh, and then after Rise of Skywalker, I'm gonna put Solo.
Ooh.
Solo was incredible, and like to say something's that low and still be incredible. I mean, Alden did a great job. Donald Glover is one of my favorite actors of all time, so obviously I'm a little biased about that one.
Dude, he knocked it
Um,
out of the park as Lando. Straight up.
Kira, Kira, who's coming back and being used more in canon again, she's amazing.
Yeah, I hope
Um,
we see her in live action again too. I really do.
I I talked about this in a podcast episode the day we're recording this. I released it yesterday. Um, my Cloud City News #1 with Nerdy Hands and Hannah EMP. I kind of mentioned how I think Kira is going to be in Book of Boba Fett. That is my theory as of now.
Yo, that would be sweet. It makes sense because like
Mhm.
Maul's gone, so she would be control of Crimson Dawn if
Yeah,
she
well,
was still
she
alive theoretically. You know.
well, the book, or no, sorry, the War of the Bounty Hunter comics takes place between 5 and 6,
Oh,
so it's
okay.
all about getting Han to Jabba's palace. He kind of changes hands a few times, and Kira uh, sees that Han's up for grabs. So she actually
Oh,
gets. She's the leader of Crimson Dawn at this point. She kind of fights Vader and lives to tell the tale.
that's crazy, man. I remember you telling me that during ours. I was like,
Yeah,
what the heck? She fights freaking Vader? Like,
yeah.
talk about scary. Jeez.
She's unfazed by it, man. Kira's a badass, and so that's why I'm like, bring Amelia Clark back, bring her
I'm
back.
all for it.
I
Crimson
know,
Dawn TV show, man.
yeah.
That's what I want.
Even if Book of Boba Fett sets that up, I'm all for it. You know, um, I think, yeah, that's something we're definitely have to get in the future.
Yeah. I hope we see Cad Bane too, because Cad Bane's like one of my
Yeah,
favorite bounty hunters. So I really
he's
hope we see a live
he's
action.
rumored. So,
I hope so, man. Hope so.
um, there's a lot of rumors floating around. I think the safest bet is Bosk.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
feel like
hey, I'm
that's
not complaining with that either.
like
That's awesome.
if I'm were to put money on someone showing up that's not confirmed, it's Bosk. Which I I've had a big lizard I've had a Nile monitor before. Um, I I literally named my Nile monitor after Bosk, and so he's a favorite
Nice,
of mine.
nice. Right on.
After Solo, so that leaves two. That leaves Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. I know I said Attack of the Clones was my first ever experience in the Star Wars, but I still rank it last, and then Phantom Menace before that. Phantom
Okay.
Menace, a lot of good scenes. I think the thing that separates 1 and 2, and I still think they're great movies. Um, they're just looking back. I saw the best part of Attack of the Clones as a child, but I miss all the beginning.
Yeah.
And
For sure.
Phantom Menace is above that because of Darth Maul, essentially.
Oh, for
Darth
sure. Yeah,
Maul,
he's
one of the
amazing.
best Star Wars characters of all time. Even though he has like 3 lines in the Phantom Menace or something like that, he's still a very intimidating foe. And you're like, oh, I don't want to fuck with this guy.
Well, when they brought him back in Clone Wars, man, like, cause like he's my second favorite character. So like when they brought him back in Clone Wars, I like lost my shit. And then on top of that, they made him like really awesome. You know,
Yeah,
he went from being like a character you saw for 2 seconds, and they're kind of doing the same thing with Boba Fett right now. You saw Boba Fett for like 2 seconds, and now he's getting like his whole story. So I'm
yeah,
really hoping Dave has like a knack for bringing back people who have like no screen time and making them like the coolest character.
I love it, man. I remember when Darth Maul came back on screen for the first time, or like I think it was hinted that he was back in season 3 after Savage ran back to Dathomir.
Hmm.
I remember literally running downstairs to grab my dad and show him because he was playing World of Warcraft down on the basement computer.
Hey, shout out to World
And
of
so,
Warcraft.
and I just remember pulling him upstairs, be like, Darth Maul, it's Darth Maul. Oh my God, he's going to come back. And I'm, hold on. This was like 2010. I'm like 8 or 9 here, man. So, oh my
That's
gosh.
crazy.
I'm so young. I'm only 20 right now. So, oh my
Hey man, you
gosh.
got a long ways to go, a long life to live. More Star Wars stuff forever.
Oh my
Like we're gonna get
gosh.
Star Wars stuff for the end of
The,
days.
I mean, stonks, man. In terms of Star Wars songs. I don't. I'm so stupid. I regret saying that. Oh gosh, man. So that's my Star Wars rankings.
Right
It's
on, right on.
it'll change, and give it 2 weeks. I'll watch a couple Star Wars movies and it'll change. It's always changing now.
I think
Actually,
that's kind of how it is for
Mhm.
everybody. You know, it's like you have one week you're really vibing with, Revenge of the Sith, and then the next weekend it's, The Last Jedi or something like that. It's like it changes so often. That's why I always say, like, when I said it on yours, I was like, mine like constantly changes. It
Yeah.
just depends on what the flavor of the week is, you know?
My top 3 usually stays about the same. Um, but yeah. Other than that, I think it's all interchangeable.
I feel you. I feel you. So I won't have you rank the TV shows, but what is your favorite TV shows out of, I don't know how many you've seen, but like just out of the
Yeah,
ones you've seen, what's your favorite?
I have seen them all, including Resistance, and I
How
would
did you like
say,
that, by the way? Because that's the only one I haven't seen.
um, it's not bad, but I would say it's not made for people like you and me. It's
Oh, it's
clearly
like more for
directed.
younger.
It's clearly directed at a younger audience, but at the same
Mhm.
time, I don't think it's too bad. I think there's some nuggets that people can enjoy, especially if you're a Seagulls fan. Um, I mean, if you can get past Kylo Ren sounding weird, I think the Kylo Ren scenes are amazing. Um, there's some characters like, yeah, Yeager. I really enjoy his character, and I would be excited to see him in stuff other than Resistance. And then like these characters that at the end of it's only 2 seasons, it's very short.
Oh
Most
wow,
of
I
our
didn't realize how short it
Yeah,
was.
most of our characters are still alive towards the end, and I kind of want to see where they are during the events of like Rise of Skywalker and stuff, because the end of season 1 takes place during the events of the Force Awakens and the Last Jedi, since those movies are kind of like back to back,
Right, right.
and so season 2 kind of takes place directly after the Last Jedi.
Oh, okay. Cool, cool.
And so I'm just really interested in these characters because, like, Yeager is a former Rebel pilot. Captain Doza, who owns the main ship that the series takes place on, the Colossus, is a former Imperial admiral who now just is telling the First Order because he renowned the Empire or something.
Right,
But
right.
it's really interesting. Some of the characters are obviously very flamboyant, like they're directed towards kids, and
Right.
so Kaz and the little, Kazuda. a little bit of a spaz. But in terms of my favorite show, it's a tie between Rebels and Clone Wars. Um,
Both solid
I
picks.
I I always try to debate with myself which one I like more, but at the end of the day, I just can't pick one over the other. I think I love them for different reasons. I love the established characters that I've known my entire life as Anakin, Obi-Wan, Mace, Yoda, all those characters. And then you introduce great new characters like Rex, Ahsoka. Ahsoka is my personal favorite of all time. Um, and some of the art, like I like how Clone Wars focuses on everyone's story and gives perspectives of multiple different sides. I mean, I think there's literally an episode called Heroes on Both Sides where Padme and Ahsoka go to talk to a separatist senator who Padme is friends with.
Oh
And
yeah, I
so
remember that episode.
they create a lot of gray area when it comes to the separatists. And that's one of the things I really enjoy gray area. I cannot enjoy a story as much when it's black and white. Um, so I
Because it's
like,
not how it is in real
yeah,
life. You know,
no,
nothing's ever
there's
black and white.
no, nothing's ever black and white. And so I really can enjoy a story more when my mind is challenged on who's right, who's wrong. Um, and then Rebels, I love the family aspect. I love all the characters. Chopper's my favorite war criminal. Kanan, second favorite character of all time. Ezra, super excited to see him in Ahsoka later. Thrawn is he's a great villain.
Star Wars Sherlock Holmes, essentially.
Yeah. I'm also excited to see him back. When they dropped his
Oh
name in The
yeah.
Mandalorian, that was incredible.
Oh, I was freaking out. I was like, "What? Like, what the
Yeah.
heck?"
Um, man. And then I mean the dynamic between Hera and Kanan is just it's the
Oh, it's
only
great.
like non-toxic relationship in Star Wars, if you ask me.
100%.
Um, I really do love the family aspect of Rebels, and I think that's a theme that you can see throughout all of Star Wars. And I know like it's like you pick your family. Like your family is not your just it's not just your blood, it's who you surround yourself with. And that's why like the Rey Skywalker thing, I love it because Rey she if she were to go by Rey Palpatine, she's never known Palpatine other than as a foe. She didn't
Right.
even know who she was until like 3 hours before she killed him.
Yeah, yeah. She didn't know that she was a Palpatine
um,
for sure.
but she looked to Han, Luke, and Leia all as parental figures, and that was the family she surrounded herself by. She's probably spent the most time with Leia, um, and also she also spent a lot of time with, I'm sure, like Force Ghost Luke. And so to take the name Skywalker, I think is very poetic and goes with the theme of a lot of Star Wars. Um, you could even look back to the prequels. Um, Anakin and Obi-Wan consider themselves brothers. You know, they're not blood related. It's the family you choose is your real family, you know?
Yeah, and that's why like I don't really understand why it got so much hate because literally Star Wars is about family.
Yeah.
Like nobody can argue that. I mean, literally it came straight from George Lucas's mouth. Like
Yeah.
Star Wars is about family. And like her picking that name, like I said, I never personally like I'm not a huge fan of the sequels, but like I was like, oh, okay, cool. If that's who she, wants to be, like that's awesome, and I like also talking to people like you who are a fan of the sequels because you have so much more insight and you deep
Mm.
dive into that, like a lot of the things that you're saying, like I didn't think about, and it just
Yeah.
adds so much more value to those movies. That's why I honestly, sequel fans are one of my favorite people to talk to in Star Wars, just because
Really?
like I'm not from that side. Like I
Yeah.
just like I'm kind of like you. Like I if they're on, I'll watch them. I'm not going to turn them on like myself, but like if they're on and like I just
Mm.
feel like I want to watch them. Well, that's not true. I'll do Force Awakens because I really like Force Awakens, but the other two I'm like not a huge fan of. But I love talking to people who love that because they add so much more value to those when I hear like because like I said they deep
Yeah.
dive. You know.
It's really funny, actually. I kind of don't throw on like I don't be like, yeah, I feel like watching this movie today because I have a hard time picking which Star Wars movie I would want to watch if I
Yeah,
want
it's
to
a
watch a
tough
Star Wars
one.
movie. And so what I'll end up doing is picking a number. I'll yell at my phone, be like, "Hey Siri, pick a number between 1 and 11," and she'll just pick which one I'm gonna watch. Like, you got 1 through 9, and then like Rogue One, and then Solo are 10 and 11. And so that's how I pick my Star Wars movies,
Man,
man.
I need to start doing that because I am a super indecisive person. So
Oh
I
my gosh.
definitely need to do
And I did the
that.
exact. I don't know if you've ever played Battlefront 2.
Oh, dude, I love it. The new one?
The new one.
Yeah, yeah, I love that one. It's great.
I was very indecisive on the heroes to play, and I was good at pretty much all of them. I mean, even like the bad characters like Lando, I could still 1v1 a Vader with Lando. It was kind of
Ooh, that's tough.
it's a lot of rolling and a lot of
Yeah.
pissing people off because they can't hit you because you just time your rolls really good. I
Two
mean, if
barrel
you're
roll.
but anyway, yeah. So I would just tell my phone to pick a random number. And that's how I would play Heroes versus Villain with my friends. And they'd get all pissy with me if I picked the droids. Uh, which I had a lot of fun because I would just play prop hunt, if you've ever seen that.
Yeah, yeah, that was a good one. For sure. For sure.
One of my favorite things to do was to go around to Jabba's palace was excellent for this.
Oh
I would
yeah, yeah.
go, they'd be chasing me, and I'd go around a corner and wait right behind the corner. And as soon as it run all the way around, thinking they're chasing me, I just go the way they came, and they have no idea where I went. And I tried to make a YouTube video doing it because I did YouTube a while ago as well. I made Battlefront 2 funny moment videos. It was so fun to do. And I wish I would have gotten that on video because I did it so many times on Jabba's Palace during Hero Showdown.
They're just like,
It
where
was
the heck you go?
it was fun. But we were talking about shows, right?
Yeah, yeah. I asked like what your favorite TV
Yeah.
show was.
I also say The Mandalorian's pretty far up there. The separation is not that much. But at the same time, I also have a hard time comparing animated and live action shows,
That's
if that
fair.
makes
Yeah.
sense. I feel like they're two different animals, live action and animation. But so right now, when it terms live action shows, Mandalorian's the only one we got, so it's number one.
Right on. What did you think of Bad Batch now that Bad Batch is wrapped?
Oh, I almost forgot about Bad Batch, man. Bad Batch was excellent. I love the characters, even though I know some of the characters weren't written for me to like. You know, like Wrecker was not written for a 20-year-old man. He was written for a 12-year-old boy. You
Oh,
know?
dude, I love Wrecker, man. He is great. Like they did make him a little like they dumbed him down quite a
Mhm.
bit. He's kind of like that stick character, you know, that's like the big and broody, you know.
Yeah. I was a big fan of Echo, Tech, and Omega.
I was really mad that we didn't get a lot of Tech and Echo. I wanted more
Yeah.
development a little bit. I was a little disappointed in that, I must say.
I love the my favorite line in the entire series was when it was the Trace and Rafa episode where I can't
Oh,
remember
I think I know what
which
you're
one
saying.
said it. She goes, "Is there an Echo in here?" And Echo goes, "Yes, I'm Echo."
That's like classic Star Wars. That's like George Lucas, like that's like a George Lucas line right there.
Oh
Literally,
yeah.
that's like the humor that I like in Star Wars. It's like very sprinkled in there. Like it's
Mhm.
not a whole bunch, and it's kind of it's kind of classic. I
Mhm.
laughed so hard. I'm right
Yeah.
there with you on that one.
Yeah. Sometimes Tech's not even like they're not even trying to make Tech funny, and he's just funny as well.
Oh yeah. Well, I like because he's so serious. You know, he's like
Yeah.
the mom of the group. Or well, and it's just like it's so funny that he's like he's like, oh, I thought everybody knew that. You know, he
Yeah.
said that like so many. I'm like, dude, you're smarter than everybody. You got to spell things out.
I'll go and tell Joe Tech Bad Batch that he's the mom of Star Wars cosplaying now.
Definitely, you should definitely do
Oh.
that. Oh man.
But yeah, Bad Batch was great. I'm very excited for season 2.
Oh, same, same, same. I really hope we get like just more development from everybody. Like I love all the
Yeah,
characters, and I just want. Also, I want to see my boy Hauser back again. We need some more Hauser.
I would love to see them develop a storyline about a clone rebellion.
Oh, dude, be so great.
I know we got that in Legends through the Battlefront 2005 campaign, where they go and squash shit on Camino, but obviously we can't do that anymore.
Right, right.
But I would like to see some form of a clone rebellion.
Yeah, I want to see what happened to Cody, man. Where's Cody?
Cody, I guarantee, pro Empire, man.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, maybe there's a comic that tells about. I know, like, I think in that what you were mentioning, like, he dies in that revolution because he dies like protecting Camino or something like that. I want to say
In Legends, he dies. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I believe he dies when Starkiller escapes Camino.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know that. I love those games. Those are my favorite.
They're fun.
Yeah.
Those games are fun, but I'm kind of glad they're not canon.
Oh, same. They don't work for canon, but
Starkiller is a broken character, but he's fun to play as.
Well, I'm like one of those people that like I like non-canon stuff. I think they should honestly do more non-canon stuff and just be like, hey, it's non-canon. You know, like I would be totally down for a Force Unleashed 3 and just be like, yo, this doesn't correspond with anything in canon. Just like they're doing with the Visions. Visions isn't canon. And I love that.
That's
because the sky's the limit.
Yeah. I mean, you got 6-armed Sith. It's insane.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of non-canon, how do you feel about it? Was announced yesterday as we're recording, or not yesterday, like it was announced Friday or Thursday, I want to say. It was the KOTOR remake.
Oh, I'm so happy.
And
I'm so happy.
There's rumors it's going to be canon.
Really?
Yeah, so this could make KOTOR canon.
Interesting. Yeah, funny. I actually have a little funny story about that. I applied to work on that game. I didn't know. Serious? Yeah, I applied because I'm an environment artist. And I'm more of a style. I do stylized. I don't do realism, so I think that's why I didn't get hired. But I thought that was cool because they're in Austin. The company I think it's Asprey, I want to say.
Yeah, I
think that's how you say it.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I applied to work because it just said Star Wars. It didn't say like what title they were working on. So like, oh, they're probably doing like a new Star Wars game or something like that. And then I come to find out they're maybe making KOTOR, and I was like, yo, that's great. And also I was like a little butthurt. I was like, dang, that would have been like the best game to work on. But yeah. You got to be like, they're hiring like industry level. Like you have to be like years and years. Like they're not just going to hire any Joe Schmo to be on, a Star Wars game. You got to be at the top of your game,
Oh yeah, man. It's going to be a very interesting experience for me because I'm very unfamiliar with KOTOR and that entire era. So I think that's what has me most hyped about it is it's going to be a brand new Star Wars experience in an entire new era that I get to learn. And
dude, it's going to be great. Yeah.
Now it's making me want to stay away from that era entirely till that game comes out. Even more.
For sure.
I know I've promised people I'd get into it, but now they're going to have to wait longer.
Yeah, I wouldn't play. So, because that's what I never beat the games, but I have my original Xbox sitting in the other room. I played the first one, I think about midway through, and just like, man, it's dated. Like it's real dated. Like the mechanics are wonky and the graphics are bad. So I'm so glad that they're redoing everything and like revamping the mechanics because I think it's probably going to be one of the best Star Wars games if I had to guess. Because if they're improving on what they did, it's just going to be awesome.
I found it really interesting how they worded it. They said remake and not remaster, and so I'm assuming they're going to be changing some things about the game. So it's not going to be a copy with. It's not going to just be a new coating of paint,
Well, also, if it's going to be canon, they're probably changing some things within the story, even though that takes place, I think, like hundreds of years before Phantom Menace. The Old Republic. Yeah, I would say maybe even thousands.
You gotta think High Republic is only hundreds.
Is High Republic hundreds?
It's 400. I think roughly 400, 500 years.
Oh, really? Dang. I didn't realize it was that way. Yeah. So like, it's good in a way because like, you don't have to follow a lot or if not really any. I mean, obviously there are some boundaries, but like it's cool because it's so far off that like in 1,000 years, think about 1,000 years ago, how much has changed since 1,000 years ago in our civilization. Like we weren't even, like United States wasn't even a thing, So it's crazy how different we could probably see things,
We're a little baby country still.
Yeah.
Big babies, but babies nonetheless.
But I meant to ask you this question actually before we got into the to the movies, but it just slipped my mind. So I'm going to ask you now. what made you, minus like the fact of like loving Star Wars, like what gave you purpose to like really start your podcast? Like what was like your message you wanted to send to everybody?
The point of the podcast is creating a positive environment to talk about Star Wars. Um, it's really bothered me for a long time with the negativity in the Star Wars community that you see on parts of Instagram, not all of Instagram, most of YouTube. It's
Yeah.
always bothered me a lot. And uh, back in the pandemic, I started a podcast called Here Comes the Sunrise, which was about climate change and the Sunrise Movement, which was an organization I was a part of. And while I was doing that, I was also doing a YouTube channel where I learned to edit, and that's where I took my skills. I'm like, oh, maybe if I could edit YouTube videos, make quality stuff, I can edit podcasts, and podcasts were so much easier. And so, um, towards the end of Here Comes the Sunrise, I started working on Cloud City Conversations, um, it was inspired because I did Star Wars YouTube content. Always been a big Star Wars fan, and I tried to find a niche that I hadn't seen on the internet when it comes to Star Wars yet. And we have a similar niche. Funny enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's the great thing
Mhm.
about it. Like that's why I reached out to you, and because like I had listened to like I think like one like your first couple ones on YouTube, and I was like, man, this guy does like. I mean, obviously, like we do different. Like it's like this. We're in the same bubble, but we
Mhm.
do kind of like different things within that bubble, and that's why I wanted to
Yeah.
connect with you so much, is because I was like, he supports the same ideas that I do, and that's how you start a community. Is you just start bringing people in and stuff like that. So it's great to
Yeah.
hear that you know that I mean I knew this because we talked about it in your podcast, but it's great for everybody else to hear and stuff like that we have very similar
Mhm.
views, and I think we need more people that shout
Absolutely.
that positivity, and I think we are getting that. It's like
Yeah.
I think it's like a movement that's slowly growing, and I think it's going to
Yeah.
outshine a lot of those haters that just like to crap on people just because they
You
can.
you've got a lot of leaders in that group of people, I think. Um, I mean, you've got Rex at around. I think he's leading the pack in the positivity Star Wars community.
Oh, 100%.
He's doing amazing work. I know you've got a lot of TikTokers that are doing amazing work. Not all of them. I'm not going to say names because I don't. Uh, there's just some people, like I remember seeing a TikTok video that was basically The Last Jedi's bad and you can't change my mind kind of stuff. And I was like, really? And it went viral. I remember my friend Riley sent it to me, and I was like, because me and my friend Riley both love The Last Jedi,
Mhm.
and we were just really, this is some really big nitpicks. It was like you guys are finding reasons to hate it. You guys aren't even trying to love it, you know.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the reason people hate Star Wars is because the names Kathleen Kennedy and Disney are attached to them. They don't even, well, if those names are attached to the content, they're not even going to give it a chance, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
unless it's very very manly content like The Mandalorian, and they're not going to ignore that thing, you know.
Right. Right.
But I don't know. It's a Star Wars community is a little weird, but I'm navigating it pretty well. I've made a little bit of a following, made a lot of friends with people I've been interviewing.
Oh yeah, I mean your
Gotten
stuff's great, man.
back.
That's like I said, that's why I wanted to bring you on here because
Yeah,
like I really like the stuff that you say. I like the people that you have on, and it's
appreciate
cool
that.
because like I said, like I'm sure I talked to you on yours. I didn't agree with everything that like the people you had on said,
Mhm.
but that's the cool part. Like I think that's like people just need to tweak the way that they think. Honestly, like you get these haters that like the comical one is like, do you even know Revan? Like that's like the big one that a lot of people say. And I think you just need to tweak that instead of being like kind of a butthole about it. Just be like, oh wow, I don't really agree with that, but like it's an interesting take that you have,
Mhm.
because I think that's what some people, I mean, some people are just trying to be buttholes, but like I think that's what some people are trying to come across as is like, hey, I don't really agree with what you're saying, but like, let's see like what you know about Star Wars and but they come across as really aggressive and just try to put people in boxes and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And that's just, get to know somebody before you just throw somebody in a box.
That's the downfall of social media, I think, is
Yeah.
you can't have effective discourse through a keyboard. Um,
Yeah, a
it's
lot of keyboard
virtually
warriors.
it's virtually impossible to have discourse through a keyboard, and that's why I don't even try. Like, I love these. I know we're not like in the same room, but it's like we are, we're having a
Oh yeah,
face-to-face conversation right now. And this is
it's great. It's
the
the
best kind of
best.
conversations you can have, regardless of the topic, even if it's not Star Wars. So yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen before the Star Wars community is not the most, still isn't labeled the most toxic community in all the fandoms. But I think a lot of people are putting in good work to rectify that.
I'm right there with you, man. I completely. I think we're taking the right steps forward.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, we're not there yet, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
So now I'm kind of going to ask you. I've labeled it. I've been bouncing back and forth. I've been wanting to call this this part of the podcast Mynonk Minutes, just because like
Hello.
it's a lot of short questions that like I say rapid fire, but you can take as long as you need. But they're more like they're not super in-depth questions. So I'm just gonna ask you kind of like your favorites of like very different things.
All right. Shoot.
So my first one is if you were in Star Wars, not being like a main character, who would you be?
Mm-hmm.
Would you be like a Jedi, a Sith, a bounty hunter? What would
Rebel
you?
pilot. Rebel pilot.
Oh, that's an interesting.
Give me that X-wing. We're gonna go take down some Imperials.
Okay, so you would pick an X-wing as your ship.
Oh yeah. X-wing.
Okay.
X-wing 100%.
All right. So if you had to be trained by somebody, whether that be a Jedi or a Sith, who would you pick?
Can it be neither?
Wait, you want to be trained by?
Can I pick a non-Jedi, non-Sith?
Okay, if you were to be trained, I'll reword the question. If you were to be trained by anybody, who would you pick?
Ahsoka.
Okay. Nice. So you would pick Ahsoka like after she left the Order.
Yeah. Give me Gandalf Ahsoka.
Oh, nice, dude. That would be an interesting because she would have an interesting perspective. That's what I hope we see in the Ahsoka show is her and Luke meeting. I want to see that so bad, dude.
What I like about Ahsoka's how she's developed is she's still a light side user. She's not a gray Jedi. Gray Jedi are in the middle between dark and light. Ahsoka's still on the light side. And I think that's where people get very confused with the concept of a gray Jedi. And as of now, there are no gray Jedi in canon. But
yeah. Well, I think they just have different. That's why I personally like Ahsoka too. Is she's kind of like she's very much like Qui-Gon in the sense of like they're both outcasts. And I think honestly, if Qui-Gon would have lived, I think maybe after he like ended up training Anakin and Anakin became a master, I honestly feel he probably would have gone the same way as Ahsoka and just like left the Order because he did not like the Council. He didn't like the way that the Jedi were like handling things. I felt like he probably would have followed a similar path as her.
I think he would have left and brought Anakin with him.
Yeah, or that exactly. Yeah, for sure.
But it would be interesting. I think you'd have to that would be a really interesting what if concept if Qui-Gon left with Anakin. Like, because would Dooku be trying to lure Qui-Gon to the dark side and also Anakin?
I think he would.
That would
100%.
Be like that. I want a Star Wars what if so bad, man.
Yo, I was literally talking to my friend about that the other day because I'm like loving the Marvel what if. I've been watching all the episodes and like they're getting dark.
Zombies was sick.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Was sick, man. Hulk versus Scarlet Witch, man. That was so cool.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Sign me up. I'll be watching it day one if they do a what if series because there's so many like what ifs. There's so many in Star Wars.
Yeah,
But all right, so your master would be Ahsoka. Okay, so if you had to pick a lightsaber color and what type of blade you would have, whether it be a double, single, dual, what would be your color choice and what would be your blade style?
Just give me a single blade, basic lightsaber, and give me a purple blade.
Hey, my boy.
That's what I ran in Fallen Order. Purple that's what I'm gonna run,
Yeah, I made that Lego. You see the Lego lightsaber behind me. That's the first one. I was like, purple. It's gonna be purple.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you had to pick, I'm not gonna unless you have 5 right off the bat. You can name 5. But what are your top 3 favorite Star Wars characters? Because most of the time people can't name 5, so I just go with 3. But if you have 5, go
We're
for
gonna
it.
go with 5.
Okay.
Because I can hit 2 right off the bat. Ahsoka is number 1, Kanan number 2.
Ooh,
3.
okay.
I ask this question all the time on my podcast, and so you would think I would have a general idea of who mine were, but I'm gonna actually. Oh, this is gonna be harder than I thought it was gonna be initially. So I've taken animated characters. I'm gonna grab. Give me Obi-Wan in 3.
Classic.
Give
For sure.
me give me Rex in 4. And here's a
Great one.
curveball. Here's a curveball for 5 that I guarantee
Ooh.
is almost no one's top 5s. Me Wedge Antilles in 5.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't had that one yet. I haven't had that
So
one yet.
for some reason, young Brendan was really attached to Wedge Antilles. I'd read about him in the books. Like I was obsessed with like the visual dictionaries and all like the character encyclopedias and stuff. And for some reason, Wedge was the character I got attached to. I can't explain it.
That's awesome though, man. I feel like that's what makes like that's the thing that this podcast is about is because like nobody has said Wedge, and that's something that's like specifically for you, and that's awesome. Like that's like even though it's your top, it's like your 5th one, that's specifically designated for you, and that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if you had to pick, I know you kind of mentioned it briefly earlier, but if you had to pick a musical score, what's your favorite musical score?
Binary Sunset, or I guess on Spotify it appears as the Princess Appears.
Oh, really?
So yeah, if you look on the soundtrack, it's the Princess Appears, because it's not just Binary Sunset. Because I was really confused because there last week, man, I was like, I need to listen to Star Wars music, and I just put it on as I was going to sleep, and then I was like, I'm gonna listen to Star Wars music on the way to work, as one does.
Yeah.
And I was looking for Binary Sunset because I'd go to work early in the morning. So I was like, let's listen to Binary Sunrise, or Binary words are very hard. Binary Sunset out during the sunrise. Because I'm like, that's going to be cool.
Yeah, that's pretty
I
epic.
couldn't find it. And I was like, what is this shit? And I had to Google it. But it's the Princess Appears.
Is that because like R2 and like C3PO had the message? I wonder maybe that's why.
Yeah,
like she appears.
Yeah, and then Luke goes out, and that's where you get Binary Sunset.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I always referred to it as Binary Sunset. I didn't know the Princess Appears. That's honestly that kind of sounds pretty cool.
I'll give an honorable mention to Yoda's theme.
Oh, great! Yep.
Yeah,
great one. It's a great one. I like mine's usually Binary Sunset, and then I really like Anakin and Padme's Across the Stars.
Across the Stars is great.
Yeah, it makes me ball that Across the Stars and Leia's theme really make me like tear up. I don't know what it is about it. It just gives me chills and it makes me tear up every time.
Absolutely, man. Have you ever just like put on a shuffle of Star Wars songs and then just like listen to them and be like, this character's that's that character's music. Oh, that's why they're doing that cue. And it's just it truly is just beautiful art. That's all.
Oh, John Williams is a beast. Yeah,
and then,
I have a whole thing on YouTube, like a whole playlist that like anytime because I spend like all day at my computer because I do game design and then I edit the podcast and I stream and all that stuff. So like 90% of the time it's probably Star Wars, I would have to say.
Yeah. I go on Spotify for the Star Wars music. They've got, man, it ranges from all the movies, The Mandalorian, all the Clone Wars, all of Rebels, all of Bad Batch, all the music is in this one playlist.
Dang, I need to check that out. Yeah, I've always done YouTube, but I need to check out. So I have Spotify. I just don't listen to it a whole bunch.
I love Spotify.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out for sure. That's awesome. Okay, what is your favorite Star Wars planet? And then I'll ask you another question. Favorite Star Wars planet, and then if you had to live on a planet, which one would it be?
My favorite Star Wars planet. That is a hard one I've never thought about.
There's so many. There's literally so many.
There's a lot that are very in inhospitable.
Yeah, for sure. Like Mustafar would not want to live there.
Yeah.
Cool. Would not want to live there.
I can answer which one I'd want to live on. Give me Naboo for where I would want to live.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful. The architecture is great.
Architecture, you got Gungans, man.
Yeah.
I can vibe with Gungans. Boss Nest,
Oh, yeah.
you know. I can't do it, otherwise my headphones would fall off. But
yeah, my little tiny earphones were like falling out when I did that.
Oh yeah. Which one would I want? Which one's my favorite planet? That's the hardest part. Oh man. You know, I'm gonna go with the classic. I'm gonna go Tatooine. I get excited every time I see Tatooine. You know, every time we came back to it in the Mandalorian, I'm like, oh my god, we're going back to Tatooine. Oh my god, oh my. It's like it's one of those kind of reactions.
Classic,
things,
man.
So
it's classic.
But I can get the reaction with a lot of them. I'll give an honorable mention to Coruscant, Mustafar, and here's a curveball. Christophsis, or the first one we see in the Clone Wars movie,
I'm trying to
the
think.
crystal planet.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
Christophsis. Yeah,
Yeah. I think that's how you say it.
It's really nostalgic for me seeing that in the theaters for the first time. It was the first planet I really saw in the theaters, so I think it's a little nostalgic.
Yeah, if I had to live somewhere, dude, I think it would be Bespin, man. I love those. Like, it's a city in the clouds with the sunset. Like, see, it would be a little scary because, like, you take one wrong step and you're falling off the the city. But
what I'm changing my answer to, where I live. Didn't think about it. And Cloud City, man, is the name of my podcast. And you wouldn't think that would be one of the first things that would pop into my head, but no. I was thinking like nice green planets. I was like, yeah, Naboo. But no, Cloud City. If I can go and like get drunk with Lando, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, hey,
who wouldn't want to party with Lando, man?
Naboo's a solid choice too, though.
Yeah, Lando's got that spice. I'm sure he's got the spotchka, you know, from the Mandalorian.
He seems like he's a dude who knows who has a good time, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. But
okay, so I know you said you're a big fan of like the Clone Wars. Do you have a favorite clone?
I'm gonna exclude Rex from this because I made him in my favorite characters, but Echo and Fives.
Ooh, solid. Yep, Fives is one. I think Fives is my favorite. Fives and Hunter for me.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite like armor? I don't know how how well versed you are with armor, but do you have like a favorite type of like class?
What do you mean by that?
So like there's like jetpack troopers. There's like in the 2003, there's like submarine troopers. There's like the Marines. Like the H1 has like a different.
I'm gonna go with the classic Phase 2 clone troopers.
Oh, okay. So like just the white ones, just straight up, or
what if we're talking legions? If we're talking legions as well,
yeah, for sure.
Actually, I'm gonna change my mind about everything I just said. The 41st Scouts.
41st. I'm trying to think of what is the 41st. Are they the ones on Kashyyyk?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, with the camo.
Yeah, the Grease troops.
Yeah, the one that got sliced by Yoda.
Yeah. They're the ARF ones, you know, the Scout troopers.
Trying to think. Yeah, well, wasn't there a Scout trooper with Yoda?
Yeah.
Wasn't it like a? It's like one was the green, had the green visor, and then the other one had the Scout. I think.
If you remember. Here, I can always put this into your mind. If you remember the skins in Battlefront 2 for clones, you had the 41st Scouts and you had the 31st Rangers. And then you just had the 41st.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay.
So there's 3 versions of the 41st in Battlefront. The 41st Scouts that were they had the same look as Scout Troopers from Return of the Jedi, but they're just completely camo. Those are my favorite. But the 41st Legion in general is my favorite Legion.
Yeah, that's sick. They have a really cool design. I agree. Mm-hmm. What are your? Do you have any favorite Star Wars creatures? Like not like humans or anything like that. Like just like the creatures you see like just around Star Wars.
So not humanoid or
no, like not like I guess no sentient isn't the right word because that's living. Like not like a character, like more like if you had like a Mynonk or like a
Yeah,
Boga or like something like that. That's like a
yeah.
pet
So
almost.
a non-humanoid kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah,
Okay.
essentially.
Um, Tauntaun.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, Tauntauns are solid.
All right, man. Well, we're getting pretty close to the end. I usually finish it up to what future projects are you like looking forward to the most that's been announced so far?
Um, Things I'm looking forward to the most are probably the three live action shows, and that's Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and Kenobi.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
those are things I'm dying to see already. Um, Book of Boba Fett, I think, is going to blow all of our expectations away.
Oh,
Hope
I'm
we
so
get a
hyped.
trailer soon.
Dude, same. Boba
I
was
don't
my
know.
original favorite character. Like when I was a
Yeah,
kid, like he was my favorite. So I'm so hyped for Boba.
I think like we really don't know what's gonna happen whatsoever in Book of Boba Fett.
And that's so
So
great. It's like
yeah,
so like it's like I'm like I get all giddy about it
you
because I'm
know,
like, oh.
like we have a general idea for Ahsoka. She's like, okay, we're getting Ezra, Sabine, Ahsoka, and they're gonna go find Thrawn, or they're gonna go find Sabine and Ahsoka are gonna go find Ezra and Thrawn, wherever they are. Kenobi, we have an idea that Vader's gonna be in there. So and they said Obi-Wan's and Vader are gonna have a face off. We know that, but we know nothing about Book of Boba Fett. You know,
Hmm.
so I think
For
that's
sure.
what's really interesting about that one. But
I actually had a
Ahsoka's.
question about
Oh, go
Ahsoka.
ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, how do you feel about them not casting the guy who voiced Ezra? Because he looks pretty close to Ezra. How do you
Does
feel
he?
about them?
Um, I haven't seen what he looks like, so I can't really comment on that if I had an
Hmm.
opinion. But I know they brought. Well, at the same time, we don't really know who they casted. Everything we've seen are rumors
I thought it
and
was the dude from
leaks.
Aladdin. I thought they cast him, or was that just a rumor?
Hold on. I know his name. I'm gonna type it in real quick.
Yeah,
Mina
I'm blanking.
Masood. He's an Egyptian Canadian actor, and he played Aladdin. So they casted Aladdin as Ezra, essentially. Um, Rumored,
Yeah, it's not.
supposedly.
I don't think it's confirmed, but
But
also since Ahsoka's your favorite character, what did you think about Rosario Dawson's portrayal of her?
I was impressed. I was very impressed with Rosario Dawson. My only thing I'd say bothered me, and I'm not. I think bothering me is overstating it, but um, was the head tails were like really short, and that was like the first thing I noticed. I'm like, bro,
Yeah,
shouldn't they? I was like, shouldn't they be a little longer? But I understood why they did it because it was like it's very
for
hard to
combat and stuff.
fighting in those. So I
Yeah.
understand the choice they made creatively there or
My only thing
practically, I
is
guess.
like, yo, you're Lucasfilm. How much money do you have? Like you telling me you can't get some and like I come from that world. So like I also understand how difficult it is to make it look organic and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But I'm like, you guys are at the top of your game. Like you couldn't figure that out? Like
I think it also have to do with budget since TV shows have
yeah, for
a
sure.
smaller
Small.
budget than the
Yeah,
films.
for
So
sure.
I think that's part of the problem there.
I think it falls under the same category of me. I remember telling you about Cad Bane having a smaller hat and
Oh yeah, you did that. You did
Bad
do that on my
Batch.
episode, but that does fall under the same category.
Yeah, I think it's like that. It's like it doesn't break it, but it's like you're always like,
It's
okay,
really just a little nitpick that you can ignore.
yeah,
It does not bother me. I literally I did cry when Ahsoka showed up because I was like I never thought it was gonna happen until it did. Like even like when she's like, "Go find Ahsoka Tano on this planet," I was like,
you're like, oh, like
I don't
freaking
know
out.
why in the back of my head I'm like, they're gonna wait till the end of this season, and I don't know. That's something in the back of my head, and then it happened. Um,
I think they did
and
make us wait an episode, didn't they? Like it wasn't like the next episode; it was like the episode after that, wasn't it?
we had like 2 episodes between them,
Yeah,
actually.
they were like really holding out.
Yeah, it was either. Oh my gosh, because yeah, it was episode 5, and oh yeah, they only made us wait 1 episode. It was episode 5
Yeah, because
because
they always have to add a travel episode.
yeah, because 6 was them going to because they went right to the rock, right? They went to what's the
Right.
planet?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Was it Lothal? I thought it was
It was
Lothal.
not
Or maybe not.
Lothal. It's a planet that's important in Legends. It's like one of the first Jedi temples was there, I think. Forgive me if I'm wrong
Okay.
on that one, but it's sacred to the
No, I
Jedi.
think I
I knew that.
remember. Yeah, I remember.
I know it's something in Legends. I only know this because I played Empire at War, and some of the mods have that planet, and you can put a Jedi temple there. So
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I never
that's
played
how
that
I know
game, but I heard it was
that.
great.
But so yeah, so the episode 6 was that. Episode 7 was them getting Mayfield, or yeah, Mayfeld.
I think it's Mayfield.
Mayfield.
I think.
Man, football's in my head right now. Baker Mayfield. you know.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Um,
So what projects would you like? And this can be anything. It can be across the board. What projects would you like to see them undertake?
a very specific answer. Very specific answer, and I've said this a lot on my podcast throughout all the episodes, almost all the episodes, I should say, and that there is a comic line that takes place between episodes 4 and 5. It's the Star Wars main line, but also runs adjacent with the Vader 2015 comic line because they intertwine. I know they even did like Vader Down, which was a crossover between the main Star Wars line, the Vader line, and the Dr. Aphra line. And I think if you were to take those 3 comics and just mush them together into an animated show, it would be like giving the original trilogy the Clone Wars treatment, where you take everything you know about the original trilogy and you make it 5 times better. You would get to see scenes like Vader and Luke meeting for the first time. You would get to see Luke fight Boba Fett blind. You get to see Vader know Luke's his son for the first time. Stuff like little stuff like that. Like if you've ever seen on Instagram the comic where you see Vader say, "I'm surrounded by nothing but fear and dead men." That is in those
Oh yeah,
comic lines.
it's great. It's great.
Though that is what I want to see brought into an animated form. I think
Okay,
it would be
right
harder.
on, man.
I think it would be hard to do live action. I think animated would be the way to go. And if they were to do that, just chef hands all around.
Dude, animated like Bad Batch, like that would be sick.
Maybe a different animation style than Clone Wars because
Oh, you think so?
I think if we could do something else, but at the same
Okay,
time, if it was Clone Wars style, I'm not going to be upset.
fair enough. Fair enough. What would you want it to be? Would you want it to be more like Rebels, or would you want it to be something different than Rebels?
Not Rebels. I think you got to leave Rebels as its own animation style. And I do like Rebels animation style. I just don't want to see it in multiple TV shows because I feel like it's unique to that. But
Fair
they've
enough.
done Clone War style in multiple shows. I wouldn't mind seeing that in other shows as well. But I think the best route would be to give it its own style.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. All right, man. Well, I think that really concludes all my questions. Do you want to plug anything?
Absolutely. I host Cloud City Conversations. It's a podcast all about Star Wars and interviewing phenomenal people. I've had PMPs on. His episode's going to come out around November sometime, and because I have a heavy backlog. If you like Star Wars, if you like the Star Wars community and the people in it, come check out my podcast. I've got people like Nerdy Hands, Hannah EMP, Frankly Built, who's from the Marvel community, and then tons of other Star Wars guests on. But yeah, and I also have a Twitter called it's Brendan is Dumb. The Cloud City Conversations Instagram is at Cloud City Pod. I'd love to interact with anyone and everyone who wants to talk Star Wars. So go check this out.
Oh yeah, and I'll have all those linked down below for you guys, so you guys can ease of access.
Appreciate it.
Well, if you guys have made it this far into the video, I really appreciate you. And this video will probably, I think, like I said, I have one coming out this week, and then so it'll probably be like, I think it's like the week of the 13th that this one will be out. And as always, guys, I will catch you in the next video, and may the force be with you.